What's up, guys? It's Jacob back on the podcast with two very, very special guests. Most of you guys know who Misa is, but our main guest today is actually Jay Fujiwara. Jay, thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Jay also does English content creation, but we kind of want to ask about his journey since he has absolutely exploded onto the TikTok and Instagram scene. And me as an English teacher myself would love to hear how exactly he went through that and what he maybe struggled with and what he maybe enjoyed about the journey so far. So Jay, could you explain just a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah, sure. So in 2020, I was actually living in Japan for about 9 months, taking a gap year after my school. And at the time, sort of COVID hit and I didn't have too much to do. So I decided to actually just download TikTok because I was bored to watch videos. And eventually I came across somebody that was teaching English, and his sort of videos were getting a lot of views. And frankly, the videos weren't that great. I don't think the guy spoke any Japanese. He was just teaching random English words, a lot of them sort of swear words, which I didn't like. And I thought, okay, I can do better than this. But then I think the next day I picked up my phone and started filming some pretty basic content, talking about certain English words that people can implement to their sort of everyday conversations. And a couple of those videos did quite well. So then I thought, okay, I'll keep this up, try and make use of the fact that I speak both English and Japanese, and that's where I got started. Yeah.
So from there, what made you feel like you wanted to put more and more time into it as you started going?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was making videos in Japan, it felt like I definitely had a community that I was building. Even when I had sort of 1,000, 2,000 followers, there would be people that would come and comment regularly, sort of applauding me for my videos and thanking me for providing value. And I think that's what sort of kept me going in those earlier days. I think as a kid always had this sort of dream of becoming a YouTuber. At the time it was, but sort of growing an audience online was always sort of a dream I had. So seeing those numbers grow definitely motivated me to keep putting in more effort. Yeah, I think I did hit a bit of a stump after sort of 5 or 6 months where I felt like content ideas were drying up and there was more people at that time than making English teaching content. So I felt like the views were starting to sort of spread amongst everybody, finding it hard to differentiate myself from the others because they're all sort of teaching the same sort of things, right? And I think at a similar time, I moved back to the UK to start my university. And then I suddenly saw sort of the Japanese reach drop because TikTok sort of pushes content based on where you're currently located. And then I was like, well, I can't really teach English in Japanese if the videos are being shown to people in the UK. So I thought, well, it's worth a shot trying to teach English without Japanese, sort of using like everyday objects and things. And that actually took off. So that's sort of when I decided to switch over to general English teaching instead of teaching English just to people in Japan.
When you first started like making content for like Japanese, for the Japanese audience, like were you speaking in Japanese and explaining about like English phrases in Japanese, or?
I was, yeah. I guess it wasn't too explanation heavy, but I would make sure to sort of say half of the video in Japanese or do the introduction in Japanese. I think just so that people knew that yes, I'm teaching English, but also I speak Japanese. I think it's, because there was a lot of sort of English teachers that didn't really speak Japanese. And I think I was sort of trying to stand out from the crowd a little bit by doing so. Yeah.
Like if you could remember how many followers did you get up to with the Japanese audience? Because you have
with the Japan. Oh yeah, sorry.
I know, like right now it's like crazy. Like, the numbers are crazy.
I think in Japan, after about, well, I remember specifically I posted about 4 or 5 videos. It was probably my 5th video that started doing quite well. And I saw the sort of followers starting to come in, right? I remember I woke up and I had 235 followers, I think. And I was so excited. At that moment, I was like, oh, this is it.
This is it.
I'm gonna make it, right? I remember I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm gonna be, internet famous or whatever. Called my friend and he was like, mate, you have 200 followers. What are you on about? I was like, no, you don't understand. Last night I had 10 followers. Now I have 230.
Wow.
But yeah, anyway, and then I think it kept on going up after about a month, maybe 10,000. This is all on TikTok, by the way. And,
wow.
And then I think in Japan, I got it up to about 50,000, and then I sort of plateaued. Yeah,
that's a lot.
That is a lot. I think it's so funny hearing that story about the 235. I also, my specific number when I started feeling it was 2,000, and I remember calling my mom. And then I remember when I hit 20,000, and I felt like nothing. It just seemed like another day.
Exactly. I've never felt as excited as I did when I hit 235 followers. I don't know, but yeah.
It's honestly incredible, but it's a good reminder to think back on those moments, I think, and appreciate how big those numbers can get. But yeah, I think you probably had a moment like that.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. And then from the 50K, and then you went back to London, and then you university, and then from there it kind of plateaued, but you were still thinking of creating content for now the global audience, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was thinking of quitting. I was like, what?
Really?
It's time to focus on university. Yeah, and I was like, I mean, at the time, still TikTok didn't seem like something that can really be a career path or anything, right? So it was something that I did during sort of my gap year. It was fun whilst it lasted, but 50,000 followers wasn't really gonna get me anywhere, it felt. So I thought maybe I'll post a couple videos every now and then, sort of thing. It was actually the video that I made with the apple in a box, where I was explaining prepositions, right? The apple is on top of the box, the apple is next to the box, and whatever. I think there just wasn't anything like it at the time on the platform. I got the idea doing an English lesson with one of my students, my only student actually.
Wow.
And so I think for that lesson, I didn't really have a proper lesson plan. And I was like, oh no, I need to sort of think of something quick. I saw a tissue box and there was an apple on the kitchen counter. So I thought, oh, maybe I can do a thing with these 2 items. And yeah, the lesson was quite fun. She seemed pretty impressed with the way I was teaching. So I thought, okay, I'll just film a quick video with it and post it and see what happens. And I think I woke up the next morning, had maybe 200,000 or 300,000 views. I was like, wow, that's good, right? And then I looked at the comments expecting a lot of Japanese comments, but no, they were all English comments, all finding it actually quite funny how sort of serious I seemed. teaching, I think.
Right.
And there was even people like making duets with it, and check the demographics. It was pretty much purely views from the US. And that's when I was like, oh, maybe this has like comedy potential. I didn't actually like think, oh, now I can teach to a global audience. I just thought, oh, maybe I can just sort of like become the English teaching like comedian. Yeah.
That's so interesting because like
Anyway.
yeah, when I first saw your video, like I didn't really like see you as like an English teacher. I was like I literally cracked up. It was so funny how you taught it. Like how you're standing, your face, your voice, like everything was so funny. But it was like so great because like you weren't trying to be funny, you know?
I was
funny. Were you trying to be funny?
Yeah, no, I would say I was trying to be funny, yeah, but it's all sort of part of the act, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
Dry humor type skit almost in some cases.
Yeah, oftentimes I sort of do many takes with those seemingly simple videos until I'm like really happy with my like deadpan face and the tone and everything. Especially sometimes if I have somebody else in the room or something, I'll just start laughing when I'm filming. So yeah,
it's really funny.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, we both love it.
So like how you stand, is that like kind of like it kind of came to you? How you're in like a plie, like I do dance in ballet, like you're in the plie, like first position plie.
Right. Is that when I have like my legs together and it's like
yeah, that's the plie position.
Yeah, the plie position. Never heard of that, but no, that just came to be. I think I did it once and then all the comments were about that.
Yeah, literally, it's really funny. I don't
remember what the first video was when I did that like stance, but I was quite proud of like the content of the video, and I was kind of annoyed that everybody was just commenting about my legs. But I was like, well, actually, that's just extra engagement, right? So then for a lot of videos after that, I was like, oh, just do that stance. But I mean, it comes from the fact that the whiteboard's too short. So,
right.
And you're really tall. How tall are you?
How tall are you actually?
I'm not that tall. Like 178 centimeters or something.
Oh, you're really tall.
5'10".
Yeah, that's
I think
just
in the UK it's average, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just slightly taller than me. I'm 175.
Right.
Okay, you look taller in your videos actually.
You look like you're 185.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. I feel like I've disappointed you guys.
No. Maybe it is the whiteboard. I'm gonna go back and look at your videos to see if you look.
Maybe because the whiteboard's short, so it makes me look tall, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting.
Life hack: get yourself a short whiteboard.
And I also like the pronunciation content that you do, like the onion, tomato,
Right. Yeah.
tomato. Like I don't know. It's like it's really funny. Like how did you come up with all that?
That actually came from when I couldn't spell in English. So I lived in Japan until I was 12. So I was in Japan from age 6 to 12, where I just went to a local Japanese school, which means that there's pretty much no English education, right? So I still spoke English with my dad because he's British, but I wouldn't sort of read or write in English. So when I moved back to the UK, I couldn't spell at all, like even very simple words like, you know, good or like should. I mean, I remember looking back at my diary, I was writing like the word should as S-H-U-D, right? As it should be spelled, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so, and I remember like being upset by the way like words were spelled, because I would write it based on how it sounded. And then my English teacher would be like, no, that's wrong. I'll be like, well, why are we adding like all these extra letters, whatever? And so it comes from there, where it's like I'm reading complicated words as they probably should sound. Like,
Right.
I think one of the ones that went viral initially was like physics, right?
Oh yeah.
Where it's like got a PH, so I read it as like puhisikusu.
Yeah.
And I think it's partly sort of that like Japanese accent as well,
Yeah.
which I think makes it funny. And then I have sort of the way that I would spell it if I was deciding, which I think was F-I-Z-I-X, physics, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of where the idea came from, and it took off. I think that video got featured on a couple of big meme pages as well. Like was it 9gag? I think 9gag and Unilad or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
Yeah. Sure. Wow.
I'm actually interested about your content creating process. Like,
Right.
do these ideas hit you and then you put them in a bank and film later, or do you set aside an actual time where it's like, I'm gonna sit down and decide this week or this month's content?
Yeah.
it depends. I do try to do that, especially I make a lot of content for myself, but also I make some content for sort of brands and things. So when there's clients involved, then they expect me to have some sort of plan and a process in place, and that's all good. But I think when I look back at the videos that performed the best, so that got the most views on TikTok and Instagram, it's often the ones that were sort of spontaneous ideas. Not in the sense that I come up with the idea and film it immediately, but it's I come up with the idea and then I sort of start practicing it, and that's the only thing in my mind until I get it filmed, do multiple takes, and then I'm like, okay, that's the one. I do rely heavily on repeating video formats. So as you said, like the pronunciation format where I butcher the pronunciation, that one I can just remake with different words. Right? So when I'm making one of those videos, there's not too much like creativity going in. It's just about picking some other words and then filming. As well as there was another format where I do sort of past, present, and future tense of a verb. I think the first one I did was I will leave, I'm leaving, and I left, which did quite well. So after that, I remade that format with many other verbs. So the sort of spark of creativity happened. Well, I have to call it creativity because all I did was just leave. Then yeah, I did videos with like I will run, I'm running, I ran.
I actually think
quite well.
So helpful.
Those are the ones I think I had seen first for your content. Those are the
Oh really?
Leaving, left. I think those are the ones I noticed first with your content. I think.
Yeah, I think that sort of allowed me to bridge the gap into education again, because I think it was still sort of somewhat funny to English speakers, but it was also kind of useful for English learners. And I think at the time there was a lot of English teaching content, but a lot of it was overcomplicated, in my opinion. Like they would talk about all these different tenses and different slangs and phrases and whatever. And I think it was, a breath of fresh air to sort of simplify things and just pick one verb, 12-second video whilst doing the action.
Yeah.
But then people caught onto it. Now a lot of people do it, and it no longer gets the sort of views or attention that it used to. Yeah.
I actually noticed quite a few Japanese teachers started using that similar format when it comes to verbs.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Right.
And I would just assume that they pulled that from you, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been for me. There could have been somebody that did it before me. I'm sure there were. So, yeah. And some creators like to sort of like get upset over their formats being stolen and things. But at the end of the day, it's for education. So if sort of somebody takes inspiration from my videos and implements it into their teaching, especially if they're teaching another language, I think that's great. And yeah, so I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how simple it is. Yeah, you like simplified it. You revolutionized by simplifying everything. So, what do you think makes like a viral content? Because like it's crazy. Like your views and everything. It's like I've never seen such numbers. So like I don't know if you have like your just like how you think is fine, but
yeah, I think obviously I get asked this quite a bit.
okay.
What I tend to say is to prioritize clarity. So if anybody listening's interested in making sort of short form content, the key is viewer retention. So you want to make sure that they stick around to watch the whole video, and the most important thing for that isn't to sort of make the video extravagant or do something crazy in the video, but just to make it very clear what to expect for the video within the first 2 seconds. So the simple way to do that is to give a brief introduction of what you're going to talk about. Like, here's 3 words you can use instead of good. Right? That's a pretty good way to open a video. But if you can somehow have a visual hook, so I do this with the whiteboard, for example, and covering certain words, where I don't actually need to spend the first second or two introducing the video. They can see and think, oh, this must be about phrasal verbs or something. And then if somebody sees the initial frame of the video and then decides, oh, this isn't for me, and scrolls, that doesn't really damage the outcome of that video going viral or not. The algorithm will just think, oh, this isn't for this person, so they'll try to push it for other people. What damages it is when a video is shown to somebody that the algorithm thinks it's for. So it would show it to an English learner, and then if they watch like 3 or 4 seconds of it and scroll, they would determine that, oh, this was somewhat of a misleading video in the sense that they started watching it but then got bored. So yeah, that's why I say that the key is clarity within the first 1 to 2 seconds. I guess another thing I do is to try and add something interesting towards the end, something random.
Yeah.
Whether it's doing a dance at the end or adding a bit of rhythm, or something unexpected, right? And if I do this, not in every video, but every now and then, I think when they see my face pop up on their For You page, they're more likely to watch to the end because they're sort of expecting something to happen. I think that also helps, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that with your milk content. Always waiting for the milk to come out.
Right.
I'm like always waiting, like, where's the milk? Like, when is it gonna come out?
I think that sounds very bizarre unless you've seen my content, but essentially yeah, I think I started doing that maybe 3 months ago, and I think the first time I used milk was when I did a video about items in my bathroom. So I was doing bathroom vocabulary like toilet paper, toilet, sink, mirror, whatever. And then I was thinking, oh, it'd be maybe funny to add something there that wouldn't normally belong in the bathroom. And I sort of came to the kitchen, thought, oh, milk, that's it, right? So I got the milk and put it into the video. It was a hit. So then I started to like put the milk in different places and involve it in my other videos. So
like an Easter egg, becoming an Easter egg in your videos.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So
That's the idea.
yeah, I think just to go back to what you were saying earlier, I think Jay does a great job of creating anticipation with
Yeah.
like the visual. Of course, if things are covered, then people are assuming that they're going to be uncovered at the end. I did notice that in your viral content, like there's always some kind of anticipation building.
Oh yeah, the anticipation, sort of playing into the viewer's curiosity. Like sometimes even if it's something that they don't particularly care about, they just want to see what's behind the covered pieces of cardboard, right? I actually had another TikTok page where I posted completely separate content actually about shoes. So I'm quite a big sneakerhead, and I used to sort of collect, buy and sell shoes. So I thought, oh, it would be fun to do a side project where I have a separate TikTok account for shoes. And the sort of best format I had going there was where I stack boxes of shoes, and then I would sort of unbox them from top to bottom. And that actually, even though it's a completely separate video format, it has that sort of anticipation as well, where people want to see what's in the boxes, even if they don't particularly care about shoes. They're like, oh, watch it till the end. So yeah,
that's great. Can you send me the link for that account? I want to see.
Everyone
I will do, yeah.
I'd appreciate
It's a bit sad because I don't post on there anymore, so it's sort of become an inactive account.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Just for my listeners, one of the main reasons I actually reached out to Jay originally is because I had noticed that he had so many sneaker boxes behind him in his videos, and I also am a bit of a sneakerhead, and that made it a little bit easier for me to initially reach out to you, just because I thought we might have had some common ground outside of English. So I'm really glad that you were a reseller, because if not, I'm not sure if I would have reached out right away.
Right. I remember when you texted me, I think you asked if I was a sneakerhead, and I was like, oh, a bit more of a reseller, to be honest. But yeah.
Wow, it's so funny.
The love of sneakers.
Yeah. Like a comedy, like because like I actually see you as like a creator who uses English to create video content, you know? Like I don't like, do you have like a, you know, like a path you're aiming for? Like, because like it seems like you like spontaneously like, you know, made that first video, and then that like went viral, and like you know, you made similar formatted like videos and continued on with that. But like, do you have like a vision, like, you know, like, or like what kind of a creator like you want to be, or like you aim to be, or are you like kind of like going with the flow right now?
Yeah, I would say I'm going with the flow at the moment, and the flow definitely seems to be going towards more educational content. So yeah, I do enjoy making sort of comedic content using, you know, I guess, as you said, using teaching English as an excuse to make comedy and sort of do bizarre things, because otherwise it would be a bit embarrassing. But if it's in the name of teaching, then it's like, oh, I can just be silly. Right? So that's where it came from. But I think I had a recent sort of growth spurt this year, especially on Instagram, where it went from sort of 1 million to like 6 million followers. And that was mainly a result of, I think, switching to just purely educational content. So just like forgetting everything I had about sort of comedy and just really trying to make the most concise, most clear grammar videos. And I think that's what propelled me forward. So essentially I've got now all of these new people that have come on board just expecting high quality educational videos. I think that's the direction I'm going to steer things in from now. I actually went out yesterday to the bookstore to get a English grammar textbook, because I'm not actually a qualified English teacher. But I think I do want to sort of become one in the future.
Wow, that really, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, good.
Yeah, that's like, I think that's really inspiring because like I feel like a lot of like content creators, like I mean there's like so many different kinds of goals, you know, for creators, like if they want to be influencers or if they want to be video creators or if they want to PR many things, you know, if they want to be educators. But like it seems like you're kind of like putting forth your content first before yourself. Do you like plan to do any like like any like thing to like showcase like yourself? Because like we're like as like viewers, we're kind of like Jay's a really mysterious person, you know, from the outside. Like we don't really know about you, but we kind of want to.
Right. Yeah. I guess I'm a bit hesitant to show too much of my life and things in my videos. Maybe if I had a sort of a purely Japanese audience or sort of a stronger core following, I would. But it's just that I think majority of people follow me for learning English. I don't really think it's too relevant to sort of talk about my life. The other thing is that my life's a bit boring. So I don't
I love that.
feel like it's worth
Probably like really not boring, but it's like
I doubt that it's boring, but
right. Oh no, it is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I sort of grew up watching like Casey Neistat vlogs and things.
Yeah.
So, and that was great. And yeah, part of me would love to be him. But yeah, I mean, I'm just not him. I mean, he would sort of run around New York and do this and do that and drink juice and fly over to LA in a day, right? So I think it would be very boring for me to say, oh, just woke up, guys. It's 10 a.m. Gonna go for a walk. Here's my coffee. I get another coffee.
No way. But
right?
I really love your vlogs about like I'm gonna go get sushi. Like that one, like eigo ga nobiru.
Oh, that one.
That is like
Yeah, that was recently when I made one vlog for sort of learning English. So I'd vlog half of it in Japanese and then say the same words in English, which yeah, it did okay. It was relatively fun to film, but I did have to sort of decide to do something interesting for the vlog. Like if it weren't for the vlog, I don't think I would have went out. So yeah, in that sense, I guess filming a vlog gets you to do things. So maybe it's a good idea. You guys make sort of more lifestyle content, right?
Yeah,
I see. Yeah, which is nice. Especially like Misa, I see you do sort of mix in a bit of like teaching English and a bit of like lifestyle.
Yeah.
Going out.
Yeah, I like because I also kind of like felt like not like I didn't really fall negatively into this like teaching thing, but I really fell into this like teaching thing kind of like you. Like all of a sudden, like I was doing like more comedy stuff before. I was doing like comedy lip syncing with like viral audio, and I was like posting that on Instagram. And I think I had like a few thousand, followers back like beginning of this year. And then I started posting like English teaching content for the Japanese audience, and it was just like one video, and that kind of took off. So I kind of continued on with like English stuff, but I like never planned to make English teaching content to the Japanese audience. It was something I was actually avoiding.
Right.
Yeah, because I grew up in the States and I never learned English, but I've been teaching English for like I think the past like 6 years offline. So like see that I had the background, but yeah, so yeah, so that's why I kind of get like I kind of get sometimes like not bored, but like I want to do like other creative stuff or like other kinds of formats of like videos. So, because I first started off with like vlogging on YouTube because I love Casey Neistat, I love Emma Chamberlain and like those kinds of vloggers. So I wanted to be one. So I started off with that. And then it kind of went full circle with like the English teaching and like so I kind of like I try to mix in you know different kinds of things that I like too along with the English teaching. So like I don't like bore myself out or like I'm not really bored. I really like like making like the English like not like to explain about English phrases in Japanese. I think I can do that like like 30 seconds. I no cut. I can do that, but I like to do like different things. I don't know. That's how my brain works. So
yeah, no, I think you pull it off really well. Like it's a good balance that you have on the page. Or
oh, thank you. I have like a crisis like every other day about my content.
Right.
Like what am I doing?
I mean, it's okay to experiment here and there, especially nowadays, especially in the Japanese market. It's so flooded with like teachers that this filming outside and doing it a little bit differently, I think is totally fine. And if that launches you into full-time like daily life content, then that might be the English teaching could just be the engine, because quite a few English learners are into those kinds of vlog type things. I've noticed.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, they're learning in a classroom anyway. So I think at least when they're scrolling on TikTok, sometimes they want to see, English spoken outside in the real world. It's refreshing, right? Which I know you both do, especially like Jacob. My favorite content that you make is like I think this is when you're in Canada, but like when you order at a restaurant or something.
Yeah,
I think your friends filming you and you have the captions in English and Japanese. Yeah, I think if I was Japanese and trying to learn English, that's the sort of content that I'd want to see. Yeah.
Those were the ones that surprisingly did well. I knew that it would work out, but I didn't realize how many people were so interested in seeing Canada specifically. I think they've seen so much of the States. Like there's so many LA vloggers. It's concentrated that because I'm from more of a small town, there's not too many smaller town vloggers. So I think, I have an opportunity every time I go home to make more like that. Yeah. So that's kind of my focus when I'm at home, make that kind of stuff. But in Japan, it's mostly recently a lot of collaboration like this, and then a lot of filming. So, before we wrap up, it's kind of related to where you want to go in the future, but is there any type of specific product or specific company that you've ever thought of working with, whether it's related to English or not? I'm kind of interested.
Right. I mean, in regards to the companies that are related to English, I think I try to pick companies that I work with by sort of using their product first. I only want to promote products that I see genuine value in. So I'll stick to that. I think eventually I would like to promote my own product. Because ultimately, even if it's a product that I believe in, I'm not really in control of their pricing structure or their direction. So I think it would be nice to have my own sort of English teaching, English related product. So that's sort of something that I'm working towards at the moment. But in terms of a company that I'd want to work with outside of the English niche, I think it would have to be airline. So yeah, I've tried to reach out to a couple. They haven't got back to me. Yeah, but Probably my preference would be either a Japanese airline or a British airline. Probably British Airways or Japan Airlines or something.
Have you reached out to those like directly? Like,
I have, yeah. Especially British Airways, I was having a bit of correspondence with, but I'm not sure. I think, yeah, it might be a bit tricky.
I wonder, out of all the ones that I know, on ANA in English, they have a really big following on social media.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're always bringing on like influencers and creators
so
and
I
things
think they might be the best shot. That's a fantastic idea though, because I feel like there's quite a big benefit from airlines. I mean, that could become travel content or all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, would love to do that. I'm quite into planes actually, recently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think in London I live sort of under the flight path, but planes landing in Heathrow. So in these 6 months, part of my daily routine is to get up, go for a walk, and sort of look at planes.
Wow.
And yeah.
I love how wholesome Jay is.
This is the side of Jay.
So wholesome.
This is the side that we wanted. I'm glad that we got to this point during the podcast. I feel like this would be a quick soundbite. I feel like that people would be surprised that Jay's morning
Morning routine. I would love to see Jay's morning routine. Like wake up, drink coffee,
watch airplanes,
walk, and look up. I'm looking up at the sky. That's it.
Yeah, we could do. That's not a bad idea. Maybe. I mean, we discussed this last time too, but I'm thinking of making longer videos, especially for YouTube. I haven't really ever done that before, so yeah.
Well, I love your like wholesomeness, your like humor, you're like you're so down to earth. Yeah, with like creation, like you put like value, you know, before you put yourself. So that's what I think really clearly shows in the numbers and also like the people who watch you. So like we would love to see long form content from Jay too.
It would definitely be.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
It really relays into your videos, and I really love. I always comment, "We love Jay" in your. I don't know if you noticed. But
Yeah,
we love.
Who is we?
We everyone, like the world.
Oh, okay.
Loves
Right. So Jacob is included in.
I'm included in this. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Comment.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Misa is a persistent commenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do see it. Yeah. So thank you.
Also,
So, I don't know. I just love you guys. That's why.
it's hilarious. Like, I sometimes put a prompt, like, if you guys got the correct answer, please put a heart, just so I can know how many people are struggling with it or doing well with it. Misa will post like 7 hearts, and I don't get notifications unless it's from someone I'm following. So suddenly my phone is absolutely blowing up, and I'm like, oh, it's just Misa again.
Right.
Yeah, every Monday.
Every Monday.
Every Monday, right? Okay, I'm gonna join in and spam the heart as well.
Yeah.
Next Monday. All right.
So just before we finish up, everyone, you can find Jay on Instagram at Fujiwara. All the stuff will be linked in the show description, and it will also be on my Instagram story. Is there any other platform that you like to push?
Not especially, just Instagram and TikTok at the moment.
And you're also Jay Fujiwara on TikTok?
Yeah, the same username.
And then as always, Misa has joined multiple times, so you guys know where to find her at mosa.co.
Yeah, co.
So check her out on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Of course, her stuff will also be linked in the show notes. But yeah, it was a great chat. It was a pretty casual chat, but we got to know way more about Jay, and I think people will really enjoy this episode because I don't think you've shown too much of your other side or what you're doing exactly. So thank you again for doing that.
Thank you,
It was
Jake.
great. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you. We love Jake.
Thank you.
We love Jake.
Um,
Thank you.